Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together. That what we've been calling a boot camp, but also lately we've been calling a sanctuary for for those of us who are inundated by all the attack, the emotional attack, because of politics, advertising, or whatever is out there. And I think that this is a place where we seek refuge from that to basically protect ourselves. So today we alternate, for those of you who are new, we alternate from week to week. And today we're going to come back to the breathing exercise. The breathing exercise is not just about the breath. It's not just about increasing the volume of air that you breathe in, or and making it more efficient to breathe out. It's not just about that. It's actually the returning the breathing from the shoulder, which is where we now use to activate the lung, to where it was originally done, which is with the diaphragm when we were inside the mother's womb. So it's not hard to imagine that once upon a time we were very healthy. We wouldn't survive, we wouldn't become viable as a fetus if we weren't somewhat healthy, or at least the best we could with the circumstances. And a big part of that is not just the food that we were given by a mom, but also the energy that we're given by a mom. And it's not just the energy that we're given, because that is considered yin, or what we call nurturing energy, but it's also the yang energy, the energy from the universe. It was the balance between the two that made us viable. And that energy, that balancing of the energy actually came from the diaphragm, came from exercising, activating the diaphragm, because it was the only muscle that we had when we were born. And that's why when were born, if you notice, the stomach moves. As we get older, our diaphragm, which is viscoelastic, gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and we move that towards the upper body. And so a lot of what we do is to reverse that. So before we do anything today, we're going to be doing the breathing exercise towards the end. But before we do anything, we're going to do some joint exercise. We talk about a lot about chi here, energy, and that's really not just one energy, but it's the balance of yin and yang. And and we talk about the energy channel in our body, and a lot of the blockage is actually at the joints. So we're going to be doing some joint exercise. But one of the most important um, joint is actually in the shoulder. So we're going to learn to uh, relax, sit properly, and we're going to focus on the lower part of a spine. Actually, I want you to focus on the belly, what's behind the belly button, but slightly lower. So if you go to the belly button and you measure about one inch on 2 fingers, and right behind that is a very important energy point. And I want you to start here, and I want you to move up along the spine, which is what we call the governing vessel, all the way to the top of the head. And as you do that, I want you to stretch that spine. Stretch as hard as you can, as if you're hanging the spine on the ceiling. Now, the one thing that I want to do today, which I sometimes do, but not always, but what I want to do today is after you stretch your spine, I want you to lean forward first. Now, then I want you to lean back, but now I want you to focus on your hip, and I want you to try to keep your hip in place as you lean back. And when you keep your hip in place and you lean back, you're going to feel some pressure on the lower back on two sides of this energy point. This one is what we call the gate of life, and then these other two, which is actually where the kidneys are, you're going to feel some pressure as you lean back. So this is a very, very old technique that activates the energy in the kidney, energy, the essence in the kidney, which is the life essence. So let's try it again. Stretch, lean forward, hold the hip in place, lean back, feel the stress on the lower back, both sides. And as you lean back, you feel like I'm just going to fall off if I do any more. Actually, if you look at me, I'm not falling off. I'm actually straight as an arrow. right? And then you just relax. And then now try to rotate your hip forward slightly to maintain that pressure, all right? So this is the proper way to sit, right? Because the chairs that we have these days have a back. That's actually a very new invention, maybe just a couple hundred years old. And all the time before that, we don't sit with the back. We just sit down and we just adjust the posture. Now, you're going to find that if you experiment, you're going to find that it's counterintuitive. So you would think that to relax, then I just kind of lay down on the couch and then just kind of relax. And actually, it's not so. You will find that when you sit like this is the most relaxed. Okay, now you can try that. The second thing I want you to do is to learn to loosen up your shoulder. Okay, and a lot of you have high blood pressure, or even if not, you might be too young to have that problem, but you're still going to have a lot of stress in the shoulder level. And we're going to be doing a lot more exercise with the shoulder, but we're going to start with the wrist, elbow, and then the shoulder. But now I want you to, after you sit properly, let's try it again. Stretch. And then now sometimes after you get used to it, you don't even have to lean forward. You just kind of rotate the hip forward and then lean back. All right. Now I want you to focus on the top of the shoulder. And I just want you to lift up the shoulder all the way up as if you're bringing your shoulder to the ears. And then I want you to open the shoulder as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. Then I want you to lower the shoulder and completely relax. Now maybe you do this 3 times, okay? When you get up in the morning or after a meeting or whatever you feel very stressful, then you just do this. Lift up, open, relax. 1, lift up, open, and then relax. One last time. Lift up, open, and then relax. Now let's try to do it the other way. Okay, lean open first, lift up, and then hunch forward. Open first, lift up, hunch forward, and then all the way back, all the way up, all the way forward. Okay, and that would relax your shoulder, and then um, that's the kind of a warm-up exercise we want to do. All right, so now we're going to do the joint exercise, and there are a lot of reasons for doing the joint exercise. One is that it's really where the chi, the life energy, get blocked the most. Okay, so we're going to loosen up the joints, and the other one is that when we do the breathing exercise, what we call the pranayama, one of the 8 limbs of yoga, and it's actually a lot like Tai Chi. And Tai Chi requires the movement of all the joints. So as much as we have the wrist, we also have the heel. The elbow is like the knee, and then the shoulder is like the hip, right? So we used to walk on all 4. That's how. All right, so now let's get back to the postures. Stretch, open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. And if you can, rotate the hip forward and lean back some more again. Now I want you to focus entirely on your palm, the center of the palm. So we're not just doing exercise for the body, we're also doing exercise for the mind. And the exercise of the mind is just as simple as anchoring your mind on your body. I want you to anchor your mind on the center of your palm. I want you to raise up your hand, following the center of your palm, all the way up to shoulder level. Now I want you to focus on the wrist. Anchor your mind on the wrist. And one thing you need to do is that whenever you focus your mind someplace, you have to give it something to do. All right. The mind is such that you have to give it something to do. If you don't give it something to do and you say, oh, that's emptiness, that's not right. That's not what emptiness means. You got to give it something to do. And what is it that I want to do with my mind? I want you to focus on the wrist and start examining the change in your wrist as you rotate. I want you to go 1 turn at a time. Now we're going to go from mindfulness of the body to the mindfulness of the breath. And when we go to the breath, it's 1 cycle at a time. If breathing in is the beginning, breathing out is the end. We're going to be doing the same thing on the wrist. As you turn, that's the beginning. As you finish turning, that's the end. And you need to get into the practice of focusing your mind on your wrist, examining the change in your wrist, but also separating each cycle into the beginning and the end. And in the beginning, I want you to just tell yourself, where's my mind? Oh, my mind is somewhere else. All right, bring it back first. Bring back your mind, start the rotation. And then when you get to the end, you say to yourself, that was a good one. Let me do it again. One turn at a time, one turn at a time. Now I want you to go the other way. Go out the other way. One turn at a time, one turn at a time. Focus on the change in your wrist. Now I want you to lower your hand, but you lower your hand the same way you brought it up, which is to anchor your mind on the center of your palm, bring it back down. And then back to the spine, stretch the spine, lift up your shoulder, lean back, open the shoulder, and then relax. And then check your hip, rotate your hip if you can, lean back some more. And now we're going to go from the wrist to the elbow. Once again, anchor your mind on the center of your palm, lift it up. Now focus on the elbow. Rotate your elbow, one turn at a time, one turn at a time, one turn at a time. There's a beginning and an end. There's a beginning and an end, right? You examine your mind, you anchor your mind at the beginning, and then when you finish, you start at the next one, and one turn at a time. Now go the other way. Focus on the elbow. Examine the change in your elbow. Is there any heat, any sweat, any pain, any numbness, any tightness, whatever kind of sensation you have, focus on that. And then now I want you to bring down your hand the same way you brought it up. Now I want you to come back to the spine, stretch your spine, lift up your shoulder, open your shoulder, and then relax. Now we're actually doing meditation, but what we call this is mindfulness in motion, which you can do when you walk or when you exercise. All right, anchor your mind on your body when you are moving. All right, now we're going to go from the wrist to the elbow and back to the most important part, which is the shoulder. I want you to focus on the center of your palm again. Bring up your hands, but this time, okay, we're going to cross the hand, mind, body together in front of us, and then bring your hand all the way to the top. Now, I want you to learn to stretch your spine, point your fingers upward and stretch your spine. And then before you bring your hands down, I want you to anchor your mind on the center of your palm. Open the shoulder. Open the shoulder. Feel the pain on your shoulder. Let go of that pain. Continue to focus on the center of your palm. Let go of the pain. Okay, let go of the pain. If you don't let go of the pain, you get attached to the pain, or you become averse to the pain, creating negative emotion, that pain becomes suffering. Right? Get up there, focus on the center of your palm, bring it all the way up, stretch your spine, point your fingers upward, and now point your palms outward, open the shoulder, feel the pain on your shoulder, let go of the pain, come back to the center of your palm, focus, anchor on the center of your palm, go all the way up, stretch, and then point the palm outward, feel the pain on your shoulder, let go of the pain, and then one last time, go up and then stretch. Feel the pain on your shoulder. Let go of that pain. And then now we're going to go the other way. Open first. Stretch. Bring it back down. Anchor your mind on the center of your palm. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open first. Stretch. And then bring it back down. Open first. Stretch and bring it back down. Now we're going to go forward from front to back. So once again, come back to the spine, stretch your spine, lift up your shoulder, open that shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now focus on the center of your palm, bring it up, follow the center of your palm, bring it in front of you, bring it all the way on top. Now open the shoulder as far back as you can. Really engage that pain, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Focus on the center of your palm. Focus on the center of your palm. Bring it up all the way open, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. All the way up. Feel it, accept it, let it go. All the way up. Engage that pain, feel the pain, accept that pain, let it go of the pain. One last time, all the way up. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Sit up straight, all the way back, all the way up. Stretch down, all the way back. Stretch down, all the way back. Stretch down, all the way back. One last time. Stretch and then bring it down. Now, this is a set of exercise, energetic exercise, which we call yang because it's under the sun, right? This is how our species was evolved. When we're outside the cave, under the sun, that's the time of danger. And so even when we exercise, the body doesn't know the difference. The body thinks that you're being chased by a wild animal, all right? I don't remember anybody who runs around the street jogging when I was young. That was not a thing. You do that in Olympics, right? If you're an athlete, you run, but people don't run. People run because they're being chased by the bad guys. So the body knows. The body knows that you're in danger, all right? And so it creates a lot of stress hormone, which is good because the stress hormone is there to reduce the inflammation so you can run faster. But then, as much as you do your energetic exercise, you come back to do the restorative exercise. And when we're running, when we're walking, when we're exercising, you were in danger. The body doesn't know the difference. And so your body, you put out two kinds of stress hormone. We all know that. It's from the adrenal gland. One is the adrenaline, and one is the cortisol. One goes to the nerves, and one goes to the blood, right? And the combination of that increase your heart rate, opens up your lung, shuts down your immune system, shuts down your digestive system, shut down your reproductive system because he wants to focus on survival. But then, if that's all we do, which is what we do now in modern life, we don't know how to come back to the rest and digest. Then your body, uh, you suffer the consequences, which is that you have too much stress hormone, and you become insensitive to it. The body doesn't know how to heal itself anymore. And so, what we do here is to find that balance between the yang, which is the energetic, and the yin, which is the restorative, just like you were when you were inside your mother's womb, is to maintain that balance. If you didn't have that balance, you wouldn't be viable anyway, right? You would have been stillborn. Now, how do we do that? Well, now we come back, and earlier we anchor our mind on the body. Now we anchor our mind on the breath. So after you do an energetic exercise, the first thing you want to do is you want to examine your breathing. And you start with knowing. I know that I'm breathing in. I can feel my breath is very rushed, which means that my mind is very rushed. So I want you to focus on your breath and just say to yourself, as if you're whispering to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. One breath at a time. And very quickly, you notice that your breath is very smooth, which means that your mind is very calm. And all of a sudden, you notice that you have slivers in your mouth. You're self-hydrating because when you were in fight or flight, to shut down the immune system, to shut down the digestive system. It shuts down your saliva gland. And so when you know that you're coming back to that balance, and when you know that you're unleashing your self-healing power, is when your mouth is wet. Okay, 20 minutes. We got another hour to go. I don't drink water. You notice that, and I don't stop talking. But yet I'm having a hard time keeping my mouth dry by just having to swallow all the time. All right. Okay, so we're going to do 3 more exercises. The first one, we're going to continue with this practice of understanding the sensation in our body. And this is called the mindfulness of the feeling. which in this case is really more about sensation. Feeling usually in the Western world talk about the feeling that is generated by our intellect, by our brain, right? Oh, you hurt my feeling, right? That's what that means. Here, we're not talking about that kind of feeling. In fact, we want to avoid that kind of feeling. We want to focus on sensation. So I talk about things that are happening outside of us. Every day gets worse. And I live in San Francisco, so probably within the next month or so, we're going to be seeing National Guards on the street, not only from California, but from all the other red states. That's something really crazy. But in any case, I'm sure it's going to continue to cause a lot of stress, distress in me and in my fellow San Franciscans. But I remember one day I wrote up the descriptions of a class and I said something like, everything that happens within us. When I see something I don't like, when I see something that is clearly illegal, against everything that this country believes in, and I should know, I've been here for since 1971 and became a citizen, naturalized citizen in 1976, and I've been um, um, I've been part of the experiment, and so when I see things happening that reverse everything that we believed in, it hurts. But that's pain. That is just like pain on the shoulder, right? It's not that I don't feel it. It's that I don't want it to become me. So it's as if I have to wear this armor around me to protect myself. It's not that I don't want to engage it. I engage it, right? Just like here, I talk about politics because it's real. I engage it. I engage it. I feel it. But in the end, I have to accept it because beyond pain is suffering, and suffering happens within you, not outside of you. So that's what I meant by everything that happens within you. And that's what we're trying to do here is not to avoid it, engage it with courage, right? Feel it with wisdom, accept it, and then in the end, letting it go. And you let it go because you know how to anchor your mind. You know how to anchor your mind. Your mind is like your child. It's like your grandchild. It's like my kids. My kids are in the mid-30s. Right? I still remember. I still every day I remember how my son felt when I hold on to his hand walking across the street. It was an amazing feeling. I still feel it. But now he's as tall as I am, right? I can't even hold him anymore. But I still feel that little hand as I walk him across the street, how precious that was. But also how important it was to hold on to his hand because I want to protect him. I want to protect him from danger, right? You have to think like that to your mind. Your mind is like a child. You want to hold on to that mind and don't let it drift away and become kidnapped by the bad guys or get run over by the car. So you protect your mind, your inner sanctum, by not by creating a shield and avoid the outside world. No, you engage the outside world. You absolutely feel the pain imposed on you, but yet you have the wisdom to say, hey, I'm not going to let that destroy me. I'm just going to accept it. If there's something I can do talking to my neighbor, right, changing the legislation, changing my representative, I will do it. But beyond that, I'm going to accept it and just to protect myself. And then I'm just going to let it go. And don't let that pain metastasize into suffering. All right? Yeah, you see that's a good one. I think a couple of weeks ago, someone quoted a very famous psychiatrist and said, "What you resist will persist." Right? I thought that was really amazing. All right, so let's do 3 more exercises. Right, that's why we're here is to train ourselves not only physically but emotionally. Not only emotionally but spiritually. Right, that's why we call it boot camp. But it's also a sanctuary. All right, so the first exercise. We're going to come back to the shoulder, But this time it's a little bit different. We're going to be learning how to separate the left brain from the right brain. We all know that is the separation of the two that allows us to really find the balance, find the distance. You can't really see the distance with only one eye. We all know that, right? And you can't balance yourself with not knowing how to utilize the two sides of the brain. You can't even have uh, your emotional health, because one side is responsible for emotion and one side is responsible for logic. It's the balance between the two that give us health. And so here we're going to learn to use the left brain and the right brain and use it to feel the pain, but not let it become suffering. So we're going to stretch again, lift up a shoulder, open a shoulder, and then lean back and then relax. We're going to lift up a left arm. We're going to stretch out a right arm. We're going to move a right arm, which means that we're using a left brain. So now we're going to make a nice circle. Make sure that your mind is anchored on the center of your palm. And then we're going to open the shoulder. We're going to open it as far back as we can. We're going to feel that pain, engage the pain, and then we're going to accept that pain and then let go of the pain. Now we're going to use the other side of the brain, because we're anchoring our mind on the left hand. We're going to do the same thing using the right side of the brain, make a big circle, open it, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Sit up straight, right side, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left side, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Two more times. Sit up straight, right side, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left side, sit up straight. One last time. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Now, every time you do an energetic exercise, you come back to the restorative. It's just like every time you go out hunting, you want to be you want to be able to come back home, right? So this is back. This is the side. This is the part where we now come back. We focus on the breath, right? This is a you need to create all these habits, right? When you sit, you have to remember what Danny says, right? When you move, right, everything, okay. And when you suffer pain, you're going to have to say, oh, I'm going to have to remember that. I feel it, I accept it, and then I have to let it go. Now I want you to focus on the breath. Remember now the two modality. When you move, anchor your mind on your body, right? So when you go shopping and you're pushing the cart inside Costco, remember what Danny says. Focus on the bottom of your feet, okay? When you get up in the morning, you're making your breakfast, remember what Danny says. Focus on your fingers. And when you sit, when you lie down, especially when you lie down, when you go to sleep, focus on your breath, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Okay? All right. Okay, so now the next exercise, the next two is a set, because we want to get ready to do the meditations um, in while we're sitting. Whereas earlier we did half an hour meditation, what I call mindfulness in motion. But now we're ready to actually sit and relax, right? And learn to do the abdominal breathing and all that. And so before we can do that, we need to energize the body, especially once again on the shoulder, and then we need to relax the shoulder, right? So two exercises actually, the next two is in a group. So the first of the group is called throwing the fist. So once again, lift up a shoulder, open a shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now bring up your right hand, focus on the center of your palm, make a fist, but don't hold it tight. We want to relax, just kind of roll up your fingers. We aim at the upper left corner. Get ready. Up, come back. Feel the vibration that comes back to your shoulder. Up, come back. Down, down, up, up, down, down. One last time. Up, throw it. Up, down, down. Continue. Open the shoulder. Focus on both hands. Get ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then Back to the breath. That was a good energetic exercise. Our breath is racing, our heart is racing. That's good. But now we want to restore that harmony. Let's bring it back. Focus on your breath, whispering to your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. One breath at a time. Okay. Now the next one, the last of the three, has to do with um, activating the vagus nerve. Now we all know about the vagus nerve. It's a big part of the parasympathetic nerve, what we call the rest and digest. Now it turns out that the vagus nerve actually starts at the lower part of your ears, and then it comes down in the back, covering the back, and then it goes inside your stomach, right? It actually touches all the internal organs, and especially the diaphragm. So this one requires that we do exercise that uh, move the neck, move the back, and then also deep breath. It's a very, very good way to energize the vagus nerve. Or you can buy a tool that might not work as strapped around the ear. Right? Here you don't have to pay for anything. But before we do that, now, why don't we do a little bit of massage and just kind of find the places where there's a lot of stress, which are all kind of related to the vagus nerve. So one of the places that you want to massage, if you lift up your ear loop, you take your right hand, you put it right below the ear. You see this cavity, and you kind of use your finger to massage. Okay, and then you can just kind of massage the lower part of your neck. Okay, and then same thing on the other side, and massage below the ear, and then just kind of bring it back like this. Bring it back like this. Now there's a couple of points where it would you can feel it because it's very stressful. Now you take your thumb and you put that on top of that piece of bone right here, and you just kind of do that, and you can feel it. Right? There's a lot of stress in here. Okay, and then go down, and then a lot of stress in here, and then kind of a lot of stress in it. So we're going to be exercising this part, right? So might as well just give it a boost. All right, very simple exercise. Now the key to this exercise is to think in circle. Think in circle, right? It's actually a circular motion. Well, actually, it's more like the other way, but it doesn't matter. Now I want you to sit up straight, stretch your spine, and then relax. Okay, and then open the shoulder and relax. Now take your thumb and put that in front of your shoulder, roll up your four fingers. Now I want you to play all parts of the symphony. Okay, every part of your upper torso is an instrument, is part of it, is a component. But I want you to think about the elbow as the conductor. So I want you to lift up that elbow, and you notice that as you do that, the shoulder goes up, obviously. The entire body goes up as if you bring your shoulder to your ears. I want you to continue to listen to the conductor, which is the elbow. And I want you to point the elbow back, and notice that as you point it back, you open the shoulder. You open it as far as you can, as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. And then now let the elbow comes down, follow the elbow, relax, and then point your elbow forward, and then all of a sudden you find yourself hunching forward. Your eyes are looking down. And from here, you lift up your elbow, follow the elbow. You're looking straight ahead. You follow the elbow, following that circular motion. Bring your elbow back, and then bring your elbow down, all the way down, and then all the way forward. Now, as you come up, I want you to close your mouth and just breathe in very gently until you open your shoulder all the way. And then as you come down, I want you to breathe out as if you're squeezing all the air from the lower part of your lung. Breathe in, lift up, and then breathe out. Right? It's all a circular motion. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. And lower your hand, completely relax. Okay, now we're ready to do sitting meditation, but sitting meditation with a purpose, which is to learn to do the abdominal breathing. In other words, breathing with your diaphragm as opposed to your shoulder or the back of the, right? Because the lung doesn't have any muscle. You're going to breathe, you're going to use some muscle somewhere. So we want to go back to when we were inside the mother's womb, we were nurturing by the yin energy that was provided by a mother, and where we were also balancing it and growing it and become healthy because of that balance between the yin and the yang. The yang is the energy that comes from the universe, right? From the sun, right? And so this is all about abdominal breathing. And then, so we're going to do two-part, then we're going to do the more exercise, and then we get down on the floor, we do the floor exercise. Then we're going to come back and going to wrap it up with the last part, which is what we call the wandering dragon chasing the crow. But the first part is just learning how to focus on your belly as you breathe. The second part is about circulating the chi around. Now, the yin and the, okay, so let me quickly, what I talk about this all the time, but some of you are new here, so it wouldn't hurt to repeat and quickly, right? We don't want to use too much time. So the whole idea of the chi actually in some way comes from the North Indians, the yogis, right? Now the yogis believed in Shiva, who is one of the three deities, and Shiva is known as the Adi Yogi. He was original yogi, and so the teaching that was passed along with him. Now, when we get to maybe around 1500 years ago, then it became more organized, and that's when we have the 8 limbs of yogi, right? Yuja. But the original belief is that we are human being, which means that we are just one of the living beings who happens to be human, but there are other beings. There are other beings. There are mammals, right? And there are many, many kind of beings, and we need to be um, part of that, right? Living in harmony with them, right? And living in harmony with the universe. And so to be healthy, um, we need to understand that there's energy in this universe, and the energy happens to pass through us. And if you let it pass through us, then you're a healthy being. And the North Indians believe that there are 72,000 what is called nadis. These are energy streams that comes in the body. Now, by the time that knowledge came to China, it was a little bit difficult to digest. So we simplify it because of understanding of the sun. We simplified it into 12 that is according to the sun. Each one is like a wave that goes through a body. Each one is active for 2 hours, making a 24-hour clock. And we name them after the organs because they happen to pass through the organ. So it's very, very hard to explain sometimes because when I talk about the the kidney, meridian, um, I said it starts at the bottom of your feet. And she said, well, no, that's not true. The kidney is right here. So why would the kidney energy start at the bottom of your feet? Well, that's putting it the wrong way. It's actually energy that starts at the bottom of your feet that happens to flow by your kidney. And that's why we name it after that. It's actually more accurate to say that's actually the energy that we associate with water as much as we associate the soil with the splint energy that also happens to pass through your splint, but it passes through areas that has a great deal to do with your lymphatic system as well. And so all these are kind of complicated, but the idea is that you have energy that is flowing that is in the universe, and it happens to flow inside of you. And to stay healthy, you want to find that balance. Okay, and all that balance we want to go back to that, and you go back to that by energizing using your diaphragm to breathe, not the upper body. Going back to the way we were back back when we were a fetus inside, growing as from a fetus inside the mother's womb. All right, enough of that. Let's focus on the spine. Stretch a spine. Lift up a shoulder. Lean back, open a shoulder, and then relax. Now, if you can, rotate the hip forward and lean back again. See the stress on your lower back. So there's actually 4 energy points. And so there's 2 right here. Now, one is yin and one's yang. I don't know which, but there's a reason why we have 2 of them. And one is yin and one's yang. There's another energy point that is right below the belly button, but 2 fingers. So back in the old days, they don't measure by inches because everybody is different. But we have this magical measuring tool called the fingers. And it's 2 fingers. There's an energy point right here. The Chinese believe that whereas the belly button is where you get the material energy, this is where you get your yin energy, your nurturing energy. Now, right behind that, on the lower part of your spine, is another energy point. This one is always the yin. This one is always the yang. So you actually have 4 energy points, 2 yin, 2 yang. And that's what we want to activate. And so this first part is called mindful of the breath to cultivate the chi. So let's get back to our spine, stretch, lift up our shoulder, lean back, relax. If you can, rotate the hip forward and lean back. Feel the stress on these 2 energy points. Now I want you to come to your breath. Start with knowing. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. The key to this is to relax. Relax. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now, you go from knowing to anchoring. I want you to anchor. If you don't remember, it's too complicated, just anchor your belly button. The difference is very minor. But then if you could, you anchor just 2 fingers below. Now, I want you to just use your mind. Don't try to force your body, beat your body into submission, because all that does is create stress. And when you have stress, the diaphragm becomes stiff. There's nothing you can do, right? So the key here is to relax and just imagine with your mind, visualize with your mind, focus your mind on the belly button. And when you know that you're breathing in, just use your mind to bring your belly button forward. Whether or not your body follows, don't worry, it will follow. But for now, just use your mind. Just imagine visualizing your belly button as you breathe in, bring it forward. As you breathe out, bring it back as if you're taking this energy point, which we call the sea of chi, to the back, which we call the gate of life. So it's as if you're bringing the one in the front to the one in the back. But again, don't try to force your body into submission, because that is just, it's not going to work. You need to maintain that relaxed state, which is just visualize, bring your belly button forward as you breathe in, bring your belly button backward as you breathe out. Initially, just visualize with your mind. Don't try to force your body into submission. But then eventually, your body would follow. It's the magical part. And when it happens, just let it happen. So let's sit for 3 minutes doing this. This is the first part, which we call mindful of your breath to cultivate the chi. The chi is in the lower part of your stomach. It's actually in the small intestines. One breath at a time. Focus on your breath. Every breath is a cycle. The in part is the beginning of life, right? So when you breathe in, you check your mind, you anchor your mind on the belly button, and you breathe out one breath at a time. Okay. All right. Now, that's the first part. Now, you say, wow, that's really difficult. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't feel anything. That's okay. It's okay. It'll get easier. And it's not going to come overnight. Right? That's why some people call this qi gong. Qi just means life energy, but gong means practice. And the word is written in two parts. One is labor, and the other one is endurance. Right? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. So one at a time, one day at a time. Now, the second part has to do with cycling the qi that is in your lower abdomen, which we call the dan tan. Tan is the fuel, dan is the fire. And we want to circulate it through our two primary channels. So we talk about the 12 meridians, six from the fingers that goes inside the body, six from the toes that also goes run the rounds and goes inside the body. And out of the six, three are yin and three are yang. So all 12 of them. But then there's actually eight other primary channels. Two of them are visible to us. One is called the guardian, which runs in the spine. And the other one actually runs from the tip of the tongue as you push it against the roof of your mouth all the way down. Now, I prefer to, and this one is, I believe is called, I forgot what it's called, but I use the word incubation. This is the yin energy. This is actually the energy that you receive from your mother when inside the womb. The yin energy has to do with the five important treasure organs. The five important treasure organs are the lung, the heart. Well, let's go for it. The lung, The next one is the um, is the um, liver, and no, right, liver. And the next one is the heart. Next one is the splint, and then finally gets to the kidney. It represents all five elements, right? We call it treasure organs because it contains the treasure that were given to you by your mother, right? And so they're associated with here, right here, from here to here. Now, many women, I don't know that many women, I only know my wife. And so when she was pregnant with both my daughter and my son, I noticed that she has a line that comes down like this. And that's why the Chinese named this energy line, this after incubation when you're inside the mother's womb. Whereas the back is sometimes called a guardian or sometimes called a mentoring. It's not just guardian, it's actually mentoring. It's so our body is created first with the treasure organs, then the rest are called the chamber organs. The chamber organs are the stomach, the small intestines, the large intestines, the bladder, and then also the gallbladder. Those are empty, right? Empty. There's a chamber, and you don't need them in the beginning of your incubation. All right. So the diaphragm actually activates between the two, and you can actually measure the pulse rate. It goes up when you breathe in, it goes down when you breathe out, if you were to use the diaphragm. Because when you breathe in, you enter into the fight or flight, and then when you breathe out, you return back to the rest and digest. That's why it is so healthy. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn to cycle that energy through our primary channels, going up all the way to the top of the head and come back down. And the next one is called mindful of the chi to cultivate the mind, right? The mind in this case is actually the brain. It's in fact the chamber between the left brain and the right brain that provides the electrical potential. So let's come back to the spine, stretch, lift up a shoulder, open a shoulder, lean back and relax. If you can, rotate the hip forward and lean back the upper torso. Now I want you to still be mindful of your breath. I want you to say to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. But this time, I also want you to be mindful of your lower stomach. And you will notice that when you breathe in, the stomach actually moves slightly, opens slightly. And when you breathe out, the stomach collapses slightly. Now, that is actually how the breathing system works. It doesn't start with your nostril. We think that we breathe with our nose. We don't. We breathe with our lower stomach. Okay? We breathe with our diaphragm. So this is like the bellow, the blacksmith's bellow, whereas the nose is just the chimney. So focus on your breath. Feel that your stomach opens when you breathe in. Feel that your stomach collapses slightly when you breathe out. Okay, hang on just 1 second, okay? I have 4 dogs and 1 cat in my house today. And my wife, because I'm in class, she has to take care of all 4. And so she took the German Shepherd out. The second one in line is in a hurry. So just give me 1 second. The second one in line is barking at my bathroom door because my cat is inside. This is a zoo today. All right. So what do we do? Now, what I want to do is I want you to continue to feel the movement in your stomach if you can. If you cannot, it's okay. You get good at it, especially after we do the breathing exercise. Now, continue to, if you could, that'll be great. Feel your stomach opens as you breathe in. Feel your stomach collapses as you breathe out. Imagine that is like the bellow, right? The blacksmith has this bellow like this. And then when you breathe in, I want you to start at the lower part of your spine. Remember that energy point in the back? Then I want you to kind of smooth up the spine to the top of the head, but I want you to stretch your spine as you do that. And when you get to the top of your head and you start to breathe out, I want you to come down from the top of the head through the forehead, through the nose, through the tongue, towards the belly button. And I want you to lean back and relax. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, relax. Okay, one breath at a time. One breath at a time. Let's do that for 3 minutes, and then we're going to do more exercise. Okay. All right. So we're going to do some more after we do the breathing exercise. Okay. But for now, right now, we're going to do a little bit of yang exercise, a little bit of energetic exercise, because it's about the balance, right? So when we sit, we're trying to activate the rest and digest. But it's equally important that we energize we do the energetic exercise because it's a balance that allows you to heal your body on your own, right? Heal your body on your own because the energetic one is the one that creates a stress hormone. The cortisol is a steroid. You need steroid to reduce inflammation. But then you say, well, no, I do exercise all the time, but my body's still inflamed. Well, because you're doing too much. You forgot the second part. That's the other part. It's like the two sides of the coin. As much as you create stress hormone to heal yourself, to reduce vibration, you got to come back to the restorative to maintain that sensitivity to the stress hormone, right? So here we go back to the energetic exercise. Okay. All right. And mainly working on the energy that is in the back, exposed to the sun, also on the side, the back of the hand, right? So let's sit up straight, stretch your spine, lift up a shoulder, lean back, and then relax. We're going to do 3 deep breaths. Let's hold our hands together, locking our fingers, put that um, right below the belly button. We're going to follow the scent of the palm as we breathe in. Get ready, relax, breathe in. And then we're going to turn our hand, follow the hand, look up, breathe out. Lock our elbow, looking straight ahead again. Unlock the fingers, point the palm forward, outward, and then open that up as if we're climbing up the mountain, right? Stretch that spine. All right, come back. Second time, breathe in. Follow the hand, breathe out. Lock your elbow, looking straight ahead. Climb the mountain using as much force as you can with your shoulder. And back one last time, breathe in. Breathe out. Lock your elbow, looking straight ahead. Climb the mountain. Okay? And then now lock your fingers again, pointing up, pointing down. Push, lock your elbow, looking straight ahead. Bring up your palm, facing forward, facing up, and then lean back slightly. Now push, stretch your spine upward. Okay, now stretch your spine, stay stretched, and then lean back. Come back in the middle, stretch your spine again, entire upper torso lean to the left. We're stretching a spine, okay? Back in the middle, push, lean to the right. Come back, focus on the center of your palm and push, lean to the left. Come back, focus on the center of your palm again, push, lean to the right, and then come back, focus on the center of your palm, bring it down, completely relax. Open the shoulder, lean back, relax, taking your right hand, put that on your left shoulder, lean back your forehead so you're putting stress on your right shoulder. You take your left hand, you grab the right elbow, you sit up straight, and then you lean to the left, and then come back, changing hands, looking straight ahead, putting pressure on the left shoulder, grab the left elbow and lean to the right, and then come back to a breath, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Always maintain that balance, right? Okay, continue. Open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Taking your left hand, palm facing up. Taking your right hand, put that between your fingers and your palm. Sit up straight. Bring down your left hand. Push out the elbow, looking straight ahead. And then use your elbow to push your arm upward. Palm facing up. Bring it all the way to eye level, locking your elbow. Sit up straight. Okay, without turning your upper torso, take the left hand and then take it all the way to the right as far as you can, locking your elbow. Bring it back, relax now to the right. Sit up straight, bring your right hand down, push out the elbow, looking straight ahead. Bring up your right arm all the way up. Sit up straight without turning your upper torso. Bring your right arm to the left. Come back, relax, back to the breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now open the shoulder again. Relax. Right palm facing up, left palm facing down. Open your shoulder. Turn your wrist 90 degrees. Focus on the right palm. Push up the sky all the way up. Lock your elbow. Now come back to the left arm, pointing down. Push down the earth, locking your elbow. Now take your right arm, bring it back, and then turn your head to the left until you get to the shoulder, but keep turning your eyes as if you're looking at your back. Bring back your eyes, bring back your head, relax. The other side, open that shoulder, wrist at 90 degrees, left arm goes up, right arm goes down, lock your elbow, bring your left hand back, rotate your head to the right, and then turn your eyes all the way to the back, bring back your eyes, bring back, and then relax. One breath at a time. Now we're going to do more stretching on the spine. The spine is that important. Okay, sit up straight, hands locking fingers, palm facing up, put that on your lower back. Turn the hand so that the palms are facing down, and then push until you lock your elbow. Now palm facing down, right? Now, simultaneously maintain focus on top of your head as well as the center of your palm. You're going to push down the palm, but then you can lift up your head. One up, one down to stretch your spine as hard as you can, and then relax. Lean back your forehead so you're looking at the ceiling, 45 degrees. Bring up your arms, as much as you can. And then relax back to the breath. Sit up straight, open that shoulder, right hand touching the back, looking straight ahead. Lift up your right shoulder and then relax the other side. Looking straight ahead, lift up your left shoulder and then relax back to the breath. Now the right hand, the back touching the lower back, two fingers pointing the left shoulder. Right shoulder down, fingers up, and then relax, changing hand. Sit up straight, left shoulder down, fingers up. Taking the right hand, fingers touching, looking straight ahead. Right shoulder up, left shoulder down, and then relax. Changing hand. Looking straight ahead, left shoulder up, right shoulder down, and then back to the breath. One breath at a time. One last exercise, what we call the reverse Buddha, putting the palms together, fingers pointing down, put that on your lower back, looking straight ahead, sit up straight. Turn your hand so the fingers are pointing up, bring it up, sit up straight, palm touching. Open the shoulder, pushing the palm forward, one back, one forward. Maintain focus on your breath, one breath at a time. And then relax. Okay, all right, so now we're doing the floor exercise. And we're going to start with the knee, right, which is like the elbow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now to the heel, right foot first. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to the left, 1, the heel is like the wrist, huh? 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to the toes. So we're going to stand flat on the floor, open the shoulder, relax, lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin. So the top of the head is on top of a spine. And we're going to focus on top of the head. At the same time, we're going to look straight ahead as far away as you can. And then we're going to stand on the toes without moving our eyes. And then when we come down, we impact the heel. Make sure you stand on a soft surface, okay? Second time. And relax. One last time. And then relax. Now, this kind of balance exercise is very important to prevent dementia. Dementia, the initial symptom I noticed from my father was actually the loss of balance, loss of your fingers, right? The coordination of your fingers. So the next exercise also does that. So we're going to stand on our left foot. We're going to find that balance by maintaining focus on top of the head and looking straight ahead, as far ahead as you can. Now we're going to kick the right foot, but we're going to kick it with the heel. Get ready? 1, come back. 2, come back. And then 3, and come back. Now we're going to stand on the right, balance, looking straight ahead, focusing on top of the head, not the bottom of the feet, not to be distracted by the barking, none of that. And then kick with your left foot, heel first. 2, and then 3, okay? Now we're going to come to the hip. The hip is like the shoulder. The hip is very important as we age, okay? It's the only thing that we have, the only part of the body that gives you the restoring force if you are about to fall, all right? Not the hands. So we're going to learn to rotate the hip. So we're going to stand on the right foot. Going to bring to the left foot. We're going to form that straight line between the heel, the knee, the hip, and the shoulder. And we're going to turn all the way. And then we're going to turn some more. And then we're going to come forward and relax. Second time. Forward and relax. One last time. forward, and then relax. And then forward, and then relax. Forward, and relax. One last time. Turn the hip, and then relax. Okay? All right, so now we're going to do more meditation. But again, this is mindfulness in motion. So this is all about meditation on the mind, meditation on the breath, meditation on the body, all three. All right. So we're going to start by standing and focusing on the center of your palm. Bring it up. Anchor your mind on the center of your palm. Bring it towards yourself. Bring it back down as you lower the knee, and then standing up again. All right. Now, as you bring up your hand, you breathe in all the way in, and then breathe out as you lower, and then relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. Now we're going to change form. In, and we're going to cross the hand, bring it a little higher so you can see it. Now, the breathing out part is important. So we breathe out very gently, very steady, all the way out until your hand stops. All right. So don't stop in the middle, because the key here is that you're opening up your chest cage and you're still breathing in, which means that you're lowering your diaphragm. Okay. And then come back. Breathe out. I said it wrong. And then, which means that you're lifting up your diaphragm. Breathe out. Now, one more time. We continue. Breathe in. Okay. Now, breathe out. As you breathe out, you're lifting up your diaphragm. Breathe in. Breathe out. This exercise is all about restoring the memory, the muscle memory of your diaphragm. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Okay. Now we're going to do 1 minute of standing meditation. Okay. Standing, sitting, lying down. That's when we focus on the breath. So let's just focus on the breath, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Okay. The second one is called balloon breathing. So you stand with your right foot forward and you lean back so the toes are upward and you're looking at the ceiling 45 degrees. You bring up your hands high enough so you can see it with the corner of your eye. You follow the center of your palm, you roll your body forward, you embrace yourself, and the heel is up, right? Looking at the floor now, 45 degrees. You open back up, looking at the ceiling again. Okay, as you forward, you breathe in gently. As you go back, you breathe out. Try to empty your stomach. Don't stop in the middle. All the way out. And then you just kind of relax. Let it breathe in on its own. Okay. And then breathe out. And then let the air comes in on its own. Because you empty your stomach now. The breathing in part, you don't want to use any more force. Otherwise, you get hyperventilate. Okay. You take it easy. Let it breathe in on its own. And then breathe out. Once again, relax as you breathe in and then breathe out. In and then out. Okay, lower your hand. Another 1 minute. of meditation, focusing entirely on your breath, one breath at a time. Okay, now to the left. Get ready. Breathe in gently, and then breathe out all the way out, emptying your stomach. And then breathe in, and then breathe out. In, out. Close your mouth, okay? In, out. One last time. Gently breathe in, and then empty your stomach. Breathe out. And then lower your hand, and then stand 1 minute. Okay, now to the third one called the butterfly. Okay, this one requires that we stand on our toes, right? Actually, a very good exercise. Now, open your shoulder. Always open your shoulder. Always lean back your forehead, tuck in your chin. And now focus on the center of your palm. Bring it up as if you want to fly. And then follow the hand, bring it down, lower your knee, straight down, okay? And then bring it back up again. This time we're going to stand on the toes, continue until the back of the hand is touching. Now, as you come down, breathe very gently. And then as you go up, you breathe out, you empty your stomach, you don't stop in the middle until the back of the hand touches. Then you breathe in, and then you breathe out, empty your stomach, and then you breathe in, and you breathe out. In, out. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out. Now lower your hand, stand on your foot. 1 minute on your breath. Completely focus on your breath. One breath at a time. Okay, the next one is called push hand. So it's very much like a Tai Chi. You sit, you stand, you imagine you have a water wheel in front of you, and you just follow the hand as you bring it up, bring it to the top, bring it back down. Now, as you bring it back down, you sit, and then you imagine the center of the water wheel and you push towards the center. Okay, now as you bring it up, you breathe in, you open your shoulder, you breathe all the way down here to the hip. Now you're looking straight ahead and you push as if you're pushing from the lower back. Go breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now my master called this Tai Chi. He's actually a Tai Chi master, but Tai Chi is not Buddhist teaching. Tai Chi is the Tao teaching. So he elevated that to the Buddhist teaching by calling it no self. Now, which is a very interesting way of describing self. So very often we think self is in selfish, self-centered, but that self is actually your brain, your intellect. So by no self, it means that we don't use your intellect. What do you mean by not using intellect? It means that we focus on the sensation and not the feeling. We don't make judgment. We just sense the entire body, entire breath, breathing. Let go of the intellect. Breathe in, breathe out. That's why in Karate Kid it says wax on, wax off. No judging. No judging. It's brilliant. Wax on, wax off. Okay, now back to standing. Okay, all right. Breathe in, open the shoulder all the way down, and then push. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. In, out. One breath at a time. Breathing in, open that shoulder. Breathing out. Focus only on the sensation, but no judging. Don't even need to judge yourself. Don't ask yourself whether I'm doing it right or wrong. Just do it and let it go. Let go. Just let go of the intellect. Breathe out. Breathe in. And then finally, breathe out. Come back. Another minute of standing meditation. So I talk about the 5 treasure organs, and someone wrote it down for you. But it's actually more important to think about the 5 treasure organs as in the 5 elements. Everything is in 5 elements. So it just happens that we associate the lung with the mineral, right? And then from the lung, we go, well, let's start with the water, easier for me. So we associate the kidney with water. We associate the liver with vegetation. We associate the heart with fire. We associate splint with soil, and then finally the lung with mineral. Now, they also think about the your facial organs. So the eye is associated with the liver, the ears associated with the kidney, the nose is with the lung, the lip is with the splint, and the tongue is with the heart. So a lot of you talk about, oh, what do I do when I have ringing of the ear? What do I do when I have lightheadedness, right? For example, when you stand up, you move, all of a sudden you feel like, oh, what happened? I feel a little bit dizzy. Well, that's the ear. That's actually all the balancing is done with the ear. The ear is associated with the kidney. And so the next one is all about restoring the kidney energy, particularly something called the adrenal fatigue. When someone is under stress all the time, what happens is that the adrenal gland just gives up. It gives up. So adrenal gland is responsible for putting out stress hormone. And one of the things that you need for stress hormone is when there's a change of center of gravity. Okay. So this next one, if you already have that symptom, you might not want to do this just yet, or you do it with the chair next to you just in case. All right. It's a very harsh exercise. So we stand up, we open the shoulder, we take a deep breath, and then we open the knee as we breathe out. We get all the way down. We continue to breathe out, and we bend our back forward. Then we breathe in by standing up, and all the way until you bend your back backward, and then relax. Right? Very strenuous exercise. Okay, get ready. Second time, breathe out, and then breathe in, and then relax. Third time, breathe out, and then breathe in, and then relax. Okay, all right. We're going to do a little bit more meditation. All right, so quickly we start where we were before, which is not only do we breathe with our stomach, which we know how to do now, or we're getting better at it anyway. So I want you to still feel it. Feel that you're breathing in, your stomach opens. Feel that you're breathing out, your stomach collapses slightly, only slightly. Right. So again, all we did here is just to create that muscle memory for our diaphragm. And the key is relax. If you relax, it will naturally breathe with your diaphragm. All right, so now we continue. We cycle the chi from the lower back to the top of the head. We stay focused, and then we breathe out. We come back down, lean back, and relax. Now, if you continue to practice like this, and you practice your determination at the beginning of the cycle, as you breathe in, you said to yourself, I'm going to be focused on this. I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to focus on the in breath. I stretch, and then I'm going to breathe out. I relax as I come down. Okay. So you practice with both determination and diligence. Then pretty soon you feel that, oh, once I get into this cycle, I feel that there's energy actually rising in my back. Now you're ready for the third part, which is what we call wandering dragon chasing the pearl. Now, our practice here actually touches on the Buddhist training. The Buddhist training is about many things, but one of that is called letting go. Letting go. And the key to letting go is to feel the presence, but don't judge. It's about letting go of your intellect so that you can use the entire body, the entirety of the intelligence system. Okay. All right, so that's the Buddhist teaching actually. It's actually written in the book of Genesis. In the book of Genesis, after God, the creator, God, creator, after she created Adam and Eve and explained to them about the Garden Eden and told them that they need to be vegetarians because they're not there to eat the animals, they're there just protect the animal. They should eat all the trees, I mean, all the fruits from the trees, and then the grains are left for the animal to eat. They then said, well, there's one tree you don't eat. That tree, depending on the language, is either translated into the tree of wisdom, but more accurately, is the tree of knowledge. That's the intellect. God is telling his creation, stay away from the intellect. Stay away from the intellect. Stay away from the intellect and use the rest of the body, which is the intelligence. So the Buddhist teaching is just that. Stay away from the intellect. Don't judge. Don't judge. Right? Now, as simple as that is, it's very difficult for us. It is very difficult for us because God says once you taste this fruit from the tree of knowledge and you develop your intellect, you will die, which means that you will lose your eternal life. That's it. That's in the Buddhist teaching, is that you start to stay in this cycle of the cycle of samsara, right? You can never escape. So that's the Buddhist teaching. And so taking the Taoist teaching and push it towards the Buddhist teaching is what Wandering Dragon Chasing the Pearl is all about, is not to use the intellect. So how do we do that? Well, we imagine this pearl that we created, this chi that we created, we imagine that as the pearl, and we are the dragons. And the dragon always chases the pearl. The pearl is a shiny object. So when we breathe in, we feel the pearl rising up. We follow the pearl, we straighten our back until we get to the top of the head. But we don't try to force it back down because that would be using your intellect. But instead, we imagine that the dragon has reached the top of the head and there's a cloud on top. The dragon sees the cloud, that's the ancestor home. Just let it go. Let go of the dragon. Let the dragon enter the cloud. And when the dragon enters town, in fact, you look back at this body. And then as you breathe out, you come back in, you lean back, you relax, and you let it enter the belly button, the dantian, as if this is the cave for the dragon. And let the dragon rest. Again, don't use your intellect. Just feel your breath. Only after you feel that you're breathing in, you rise again. And you don't use your intellect to force the dragon, but instead you let the dragon be a wandering free. You let it rise above your intellect, rise above your birth brain, and you look back down at this body, which is just your physical existence. That's not the entirety of you. Okay? That is not you. There's much more than you, than whatever this body represents. And then you come back down and back again. Okay? Let's do that for 3 minutes and then I'll give you the blessing before we go. Okay? Okay. All right. So you see, they asked me about the five face organ, right? It's actually very easy. First, the nose. That's the lung, obviously, right? All right. Now, then the ears, right? The ears are their kidney. The eyes are the liver. Okay. So we associate the eyes with the liver. Liver is associated with fire. So if you have a lot of anxiety, a lot of anger, it shows up in the eye. Okay. The lip is the splint, and the tongue is the heart. Now, but since you asked the question, I will talk about AI again. Unfortunately, we use artificial intelligence as if AI is intelligent. AI is not intelligent. AI is knowledge, is curated knowledge. Okay, that's all it is. It just goes out, it collects all the articles written about a subject, and then it curates it for you. So I want you to make the habit of using AI, embrace the technology, understanding is shortcoming, because one of the key to living well, living mindfully, is and living with the intent of increasing our health span, our health expectancy, is O. Last one is O. Remember, Neuro. O is for openness, open to learning. Never stop learning. Every day is the beginning of your new life. So never stop learning. And one of the great learning tools these days is AI. So just do Google and ask the exact question that you ask, is how does the organs, the face organs, associate with the chi, or a variation of that. And if you ask the right question, it will give you an answer. And this is how you begin to learn. Okay, now today we're over time. So um, you'll notice that since the election, in fact, people say that to me. Said, Danny, how come you become so political? Actually, in fact, they turn off some of the students. They stop coming because I'm so political. And I'm just saying that, as what I said before, is that um, you need to confront, especially if you think that what's happening is evil, you need to confront the evil, but not become it. And so you need to understand that that I, it's not about avoidance. It's not about escaping, right? And like we said, what we said, what we resist persists. So it's really more about engaging. Really be there, engage it with all the anger and the but to understand that it's just pain. It's just like pain on the shoulder. This is just pain on my mind, pain on my spirit. But whether I can't control that, it is what it is. But what I can control is not to let it become suffering. So I'm going to give you a blessing today based on the chanting of metta, which is loving kindness. So I want you to put the hands together. This hand gestures stands for two things, and it's universal. It is across all religions. It stands for gratitude, and then it stands for blessing. So it's about how you start the journey by first being very grateful. In spite of all the difficulties, be very grateful. Be grateful to yourself, we're grateful to your health, grateful to your family, grateful for your neighbors, grateful for your teachers, grateful for your fellow travelers, grateful for all the first line responders, and on and on and on. And then if you can be grateful, then you can learn to accept. And if you can learn to accept, then you can give them your blessing, much as what I do now. I want you all be blessed and to be free from animosity and negative energy. I want you to be all be blessed and to be free with mental suffering, not pain. I cannot help you with your pain. I can only help you with your suffering. I want you to be all be blessed and to be free with physical suffering. I want all beings to be filled with joy and to be protected with positive energy. Sabe Satan Namaste. Have a great week. See you all next week. OK， 星期一見。多謝大家支持。
多謝 Billy 師兄。
多謝。OK，拜拜，休息啦嚇。OK，拜拜。